Welcome to Generation Rising. I'm Anaridis Rodriguez. Here at Generation Rising, we have conversations that explore solutions to the inequities our diverse communities face every day. And with us tonight, we have two distinguished community leaders from the Rhode Island Foundation to talk about the Foundation's Executive Leadership Initiative, also known as ELI. Angela Ankoma is the Vice President and Executive Director at ELI, and David Cicilline is the President and CEO of the Rhode Island Foundation. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here. Angela, let's start with you. What is the Equity Leadership Initiative?
Equity Leadership Initiative, also known as ELI, as you mentioned, is a leadership program developed by Rhode Island Foundation about 3 years ago, really looking at building the pipeline for the next generation of leaders of color in the state of Rhode Island. And so we developed a 12-month initiative, which every month the leaders meet and focus on different topics, whether it be building your brand, marketing, and connecting with other leaders. And so every year we have an application process that begins at the beginning of the year where we select leaders. The two requirements are you identify as a person of color and that you live in Rhode Island. And so we've had 2 completed cohorts. We are currently about 4 months into our 3rd cohort, and it's been incredible. We've had leaders build within their networks. We've had leaders been recognized for awards. We've also had leaders get opportunities to connect with others and also other job opportunities as well too. And so I say, you know, the social capital that the Equity Leadership Initiative has been building is incredible for our state.
Have you found it to be a competitive process? This, as you mentioned, is the 3rd cohort, and you've selected just over 24. What is that process like?
So the application process begins, as I mentioned, at the beginning of the year. And there are about 4 or 5 questions that each of the leaders are asked. How do they think the Equity Leadership Initiative will help them professionally? What do they intend to get out of it? What are some of the ways that they've already been leaders within their organizations or in the community? Mm-hmm. And then there's a video where they say, if accepted, how Equity Leadership Initiative will impact them in their career trajectory. And so that application process is completed, and then we have a committee of members from both internally at the Rhode Island Foundation, but also leaders throughout the state of Rhode Island who review the applications and score them, and then we come up with a final list.
And looking at the final list for this year, David, I'll bring you into the conversation now. We're talking about doctors, lawyers, people who are helping shape policy, people who are helping our communities have access to health care. Building those leaders up, what does that do?
Well, I mean, it's a very competitive process, as you were just asking about. I mean, there are more applicants than there are spots every year because I think of the quality of the program. And what we're learning is that there are a lot of people who are already leaders in their respective fields, but what they really don't have is a network of supporters, of like-minded people who have maybe moved to the state recently or have been here their whole lives, but just haven't really found that kind of network of people who would support them in their professional development. So, you know, I had the opportunity to speak to individuals who have participated in the program, and they all describe it as really life-changing, that it has been one of the most important developments in their personal and professional lives. And if you think about the graduates of the program, the alumni continue to have relationships with each other and continue to support each other in their professional advancements. So it's a great program. Angie, as the Executive Vice President, has led this program, and it's really made a difference, I think, in the lives of everyone who's participated.
Who is the typical applicant? From what we understand, women are overrepresented in these cohorts.
Women are overrepresented, and men this year are actually have increased their applicant pool as well too. The typical applicant is a leader who identifies as a person of color, who's committed to equity, social justice, and who's really looking to grow their network and make an impact. One of the most impactful opportunities with ELI is that you not only have access to the leaders within a network, but also the network of the broader foundation as well too. And so they connect internally with staff members, they connect externally with different members of the Rhode Island Foundation partnership and network as well too. And so it's been incredibly important to be able to build that network and that deep bench within our state as well too. And we've seen a number of them get different positions within our state as well too. And so, you know, two things. They are Rhode Islanders and identify people of color, and then, you know, demonstrate a commitment to equity and social justice in our state.
And what kind of skills are they building through this program?
Public speaking, communicating what their brands are, how to navigate for different spaces as people of color, whether it be work or in the community, how to negotiate, not only during their everyday lives, but also when an opportunity comes along, how do you negotiate that? You know, understanding who they are as a leader, that internal reflection is incredibly important. And so what is their social and emotional intelligence? How do they lead change management? Those are all the things that they learn during their 12 months with us.
David, you are new to the foundation, but you've spoken about this program before. Why is a program like this needed in Rhode Island, and what makes it unique from other initiatives?
Well, the Rhode Island Foundation has always recognized the importance of supporting emerging leaders. And I think the Rhode Island Foundation has 3 strategic initiatives that it's identified: healthcare, ensuring Rhode Islanders have access to high quality and affordable health care, improving the quality of public education, and making certain that everyone has real economic opportunities. Those have been the kind of the 3 principal strategies. But in all of that work, equity is really at the forefront, and not something we think about after, but it is central to that work. And this is part of that responsibility to invest in emerging and existing leaders of color and supporting them through the work of the Community Foundation. We're one of the oldest and largest community foundations in the country, and we have a growing and serious responsibility to promote equity, inclusion, diversity in all of our work, both externally and internally. And ELI is one part of that work. And we are building now kind of an action plan for my time at the foundation, and equity will remain in the center of all of our work as we develop our specific priorities going forward.
Why is it so important, Angela, to build up this next generation of leaders when it comes to them being able to go out and serve different communities in Rhode Island? Why is it important for leadership to be diverse?
Well, I think one of the things is that when you're looking at leadership from across our state right now, you know, there is a huge opportunity to diversify the leadership pipeline. And I think that's in all sectors. One of the things about ELI is that we have people from corporate, nonprofit, government working all together. And so making sure that the population and the leadership is representative of the state of Rhode Island is incredibly important. I think when you look at the demographics of our state and also of our nation, we know that we have to make sure and ensure that those who are making decisions are also people represented in the decision-making table as well, too.
And if I just add one thing to that, you know, there's so much research that shows without any question that when you have diverse perspectives and diverse views, you have higher quality outcomes. It's just when people bring different perspectives, different ideas, different lived experiences, it improves the decision-making, it improves the ultimate efficiency and quality of the work. And so it's really valuable both as an organization and in promoting it in the nonprofits that we work with, that people understand that it's a value to your organization to have diversity reflected at every aspect of your work, in your staff, in the work that you're doing in outreach, that it just makes a big difference and it improves everything about the work that you do to have that diversity of experiences and perspectives and ideas. So, you know, there's been a lot of science that supports the value of diversity in the work that we're doing.
In the last few years, we've seen this concerted effort to invest in DE&I programs, right? But a lot of critics say we need to stop talking about it and actually do something about it. And it seems like this is doing something about it.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to remain a priority, but you're absolutely right. We can't just say this is a value and this is important to us as the state's only community foundation. We have to live it every day in the way we the way we make grants, the way that we engage people in the community to be part of the work that we're doing, in the way that we speak to donors, in the programs that we run. It has to be embedded in all of our work. And, you know, I think there have been a lot of organizations that have talked about it for a long time. I think the Rhode Island Foundation has to continue to be a leader in this space and do the work and help organizations who are committed to doing it do it as well. I mean, we have a lot of experience in this. We have a lot of ability to engage with people who have done this kind of work around the country. And so we also want to share that with organizations that we work with to make it easier for them to be successful in doing DEI work.
David mentioned that this is an extremely competitive process, Angela, and you must be one of the people who are making those tough decisions. For those who are watching in our audience who may be interested in participating in a program like this, what is the differentiator, right? Who are you paying attention to most? How can people get a seat at the table at ELI?
A couple of things. One is, what has their existing commitment to DE&I? Not necessarily part of your work professionally, but also what are their commitments in the community as well too, and how is that demonstrated? The application process, we talk about, how do they think that ELI will benefit them in their career? And really clearly articulating that. We want to understand what their vision is and how they feel that vision will contribute to the general population of Rhode Island as well too. And I think third, there's a video interview where they tell us a little bit more about themselves, what their commitments are, and how important this will be for them. And that is, we take all those aspects in looking at this. So we take a look at their resumes, we take a look at their references, and also their career trajectory in terms of what they've done to date. This is not for somebody who is new and really exploring and understanding diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, but these are people who have been in this work, really want to continue this work, and we were like-minded people who are looking to advance racial equity in all sectors, not only personally, but also professionally as well.
So this takes an acknowledgement of understanding that they also themselves have to do the work and submit to a deeper commitment to equality, right? What's the feedback? Why do people want to take this next step? What are you hearing from them?
Well, I mean, the people who participate and the people who have applied to participate are excited about the ability to build a network of other professionals in Rhode Island who are doing important work, and they cover a variety of different professions and fields. But it ends up being really a community for the ELI cohort, where they really support each other, they're resources to each other, but they want to make their own advancements professionally and personally, but they also want to contribute to a state where equity is at the center of our work, and that Rhode Island is a more fair and just place for people to get ahead, and that they will have real opportunities. So it's about their personal commitment, but also their commitment to the community that they're a part of, that I think really distinguishes ELI.
And having that intention. What does success look like to you in this program?
We've seen some of that success already. Success looks like, executive directors who reflect the community. We've had a number of ELI members who've gotten positions as the first person of color who's an executive director. We've had people who've been considered for judicial nominations. We've had people launch their businesses, marketing communications that are focused on equity and justice. We've had people recognized nationally for cybersecurity as a result of their work in cybersecurity focused on equity and justice. And so really their path has been very varied, both recognizing them with awards, whether it be getting different positions within their organizations, and also people seeing the talent that we have right here in our state of Rhode Island and getting job offers as a result of that. And so we've begun to see the success in 3 short years, and really looking forward to each person having success and being in a decision-making position in their respective professions or personally as well too.
Angela, describe to us a typical day for the cohort. You say they meet once a month.
Yes, generally they arrive around 12 o'clock, where they'll have lunch, and we'll have a guest speaker speak to them. And then from 1 to 6, there's usually a focus session on the various topics, whether it be from marketing, yourself, developing your own personal strategic plan. And then usually there's some networking afterwards that happens earlier on in the evening. Out of the 12 months of the initiative, each ELI member is also paired with an executive coach that is also part of the program as well too. And they meet with their executive coach with their personal strategic plan twice a month for 6 months. And that is one of the benefits of the program that people are most excited about, is having that one-to-one time for the leaders to be able to work on their personal development goals as well too.
And that brings me to my next question is, what is the takeaway for them? Have they shared any reflections on what this experience has done for them?
One of the first things that they say is that's a family. And it's a family that they didn't even know that they were missing. And so we have people from all sectors. So like you mentioned earlier, there are people who are medical doctors who most of their time is spent at work. We have people who are focusing on different things in a nonprofit community, and they get to come together literally like a family. And they share some of the things that are really intimate and personal with them, some of the issues that they're dealing with professionally as well too. And so it is the social capital that they didn't know that they needed, and they continue to build on it as well too. We don't measure social capital oftentimes in our society, but I think it's incredible to see the network that they're building. And there's a ton of communication outside of ELI, the once a month as well too. And so they'll get together, for example, this past weekend, they got together for before the holidays. They'll get together at birthday parties. They'll support each other who's getting an award at an event. And so it really is like a family, and they support each other as such.
And those connections last well beyond when the program is over.
Yes.
Absolutely.
David, you are new to the foundation. This ELI program falls under the umbrella of the many things that the foundation does. What compelled you to leave Washington and come and do this work here in Rhode Island?
Well, you know, I had the opportunity to work with the Rhode Island Foundation in all of my previous roles, when I was in the state legislature, when I was mayor of Providence, and certainly as a member of Congress. And so I knew the impact of the Rhode Island Foundation in improving the lives of Rhode Islanders. And what drove me to public service for the last 30 years was trying to do everything I could to improve the lives of the people I served in the state of Rhode Island. This was an opportunity to come to lead an organization that was having a profound impact on Rhode Islanders, to work with people who are working together in a collaborative way to try to make progress on things that I care a lot about in the state that I love. So it was sort of this incredible opportunity to build upon 30 years of public service and elective office, to take all those lessons and lead the foundation and be able to really have an impact, a positive impact on the lives of Rhode Islanders in a very profound and direct way. And so I thought about it carefully, and I thought, here's a place where I can make a real difference to the state that I love, to the people that I love, and an organization that has such an important role. And it's hard to think of any major public policy that the Rhode Island Foundation is not at the table and a part of. So helping to shape public policy in Rhode Island, helping to fund some of the most important organizations doing really high quality work on all the issues that I care about: healthcare and education, economic opportunity, equity. So it's sort of a dream job in that way, getting to do all the things you love and care about with people that are really committed to doing this work. I mean, the team at the Rhode Island Foundation is extraordinary, really committed people working hard every day to make a difference. So although I loved my years in public office, this was an opportunity to serve in a different way, and I'm really excited about having this great privilege and responsibility.
I mean, it seems like a natural fit because you've built relationships with so many people across so many communities in the Ocean State. And this is a question to the both of you, is, you learn a lot about the Rhode Island Foundation every day. I didn't know it was one of the oldest and largest foundations in the country. So tell us what else people might not know about the Rhode Island Foundation and the work that they're doing in the state.
Sure. I think one thing that people might not know is that we provide almost $4 million a year in scholarships to Rhode Island students pursuing higher education, which is pretty extraordinary. Hundreds of Rhode Islanders each year receive scholarships. They go all the way up to $20,000 a year, which is our most generous. And again, all of this work is because of the extraordinary generosity of Rhode Islanders. Donors who trust the Rhode Island Foundation, who take their philanthropy and trust us to make investments that will improve the life of Rhode Island and Rhode Islanders. And every year to do scholarships of about $4 million to Rhode Island students. And then we have a great celebration to honor all those students, a big barbecue. But I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't know about the Rhode Island Foundation. So if you're a student, or you're thinking about going to college, go to our website and be sure that you apply for one of the scholarships that are available.
You are eligible if you're a high school student or if you're a college student as well.
Yes, for even some graduate programs.
Angela, what about the DE&I and the racial equity work that the foundation is doing? ELI is only one example.
Exactly. Earlier this year, we put a competitive application process together. And we had a number of applicants, and we awarded $2.2 million to address racial equity and social justice. And one of the things that I always say is that we can't fund our way out of inequities. We really need to look at the systems that are in place that perpetuate inequities. And so we really looked at applications that were looking at addressing some of the systemic inequities, whether it be in education, whether it be in criminal justice system, or whether it be immigration status in our state or Rhode Island. And so we had an amazing group of applicants, and we selected a number of them. And we're looking at understanding a little bit more about some of the issues that they're addressing and targeting at the systems level over the next 2 years to see, honestly, what we can learn and how we can grow and amplify the work in our area as well, too.
And In staying with that, talking about your collaboration with community partners, are you finding that you are the only ones doing this type of work? Are you finding that people are receptive to making that change? What has that experience been like? I'll start with you, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a number of organizations that we work with very closely. I would say generally people are very anxious to do the work. They understand the urgency. Very often it's about their capacity to do it. And for smaller or newer organizations, they may not have all of the technical assistance they need to how to do this work effectively. I think one of the tragedies is we as a society really have been very late to this work. I think it's fair to say that the killing of George Floyd kind of caused a lot of organizations to suddenly recognize, look, we have very serious challenges in this country with respect to racial equity and inclusion and diversity. But for whatever reason, it, I think, really motivated people to finally understand the urgency of this work. And so I think there's a lot of good things happening both in our state and around the country. And we want to learn from others doing this work. We want to share the lessons we've learned. But I think everyone recognizes if we're going to see the kind of outcomes that we want in the areas of education or healthcare or growing our economy, it is central to that work that we address issues of equity and inclusion and diversity, because we will never meet those marks. When you look at the growing demographics of people of color, if we don't make certain that people of color have highly successful experience in public education, that have access to high quality, affordable health care, that have real economic opportunity, the future for our state will be a great challenge. So this is a necessity and a moral responsibility, but also an economic, educational, and healthcare necessity.
Angela, what's your experience been like when it comes to, meeting community partners and understanding the work that needs to be done?
I think members of the community really welcomed Rhode Island Foundation's announcement 3 years ago. We made that $8.5 million commitment. Part of that commitment was the Equity Leadership Initiative, and part of that is the Racial Equity and Social Justice Grants. But members of the community were really ready. They were doing, like David mentioned, they were doing some of this work but needed additional capacity. But really, I think it was looking and really being excited about the leadership that Rhode Island Foundation was playing in this space as well, too. As a larger philanthropic funder in the state, it was a welcome opportunity to be able to do this work and help organizations build their capacity to do this work, really look internally. Part of that work was also helping nonprofits look internally about what they needed to do as well, too. It was some honest conversations that they were also having, and having the largest foundation in Rhode Island lead this work and also look at how we can help support those organizations, and really looking at how we can help make these investments in our state. I think it was really welcomed and a big celebration in terms of members of the community who've been doing this work. And we're really looking forward to Rhode Island Foundation joining them in this effort as well, too.
What are you both looking forward to in 2024? Any new initiatives that are coming up that our audiences would like to know about?
We have some new initiatives, but
you can't say much.
I can't say much yet, but I will tell you for sure in 2024 we will launch an action plan for the Rhode Island Foundation that will really set forth our priorities, how we will do our work, how we will hold ourselves accountable for getting that work done. And I think we'll add some to the portfolio of our responsibilities, but a lot of exciting announcements coming in 2024.
All right, Angela, can you give us any previews?
My boss is right here.
What about the ELI Equity Leadership Initiative? Your cohort is how many months into the program?
4 months.
And 4 months. So people who want to sign up to be in the next cohort of leaders, when should they start the process?
A couple of things. One, they can contact me now, because we also keep a waiting list, email list, so that we make sure that we send emails to certain people. I think at the beginning of 2020, the end of 2024, they should take a look at the application process, because we should be able to have additional information about that as well, too. And then continuing to build our alumni network. It's not, you're done with 12 months and, Rhode Island Foundation washes their hands off of you as well, too. We'll continue to build the alumni network, professional development, and also the social capital amongst the organizations as well, too. And, Rhode Island Foundation has done a great job of building and building opportunities for ELI members within, whether it be scholarship committee members, within boards and commissions. And so we're looking to kind of build the pipeline and pathways for equity leadership members as well, too.
Wonderful. So if our viewers who are watching want to get involved with the Rhode Island Foundation or stay in touch, how can they do so?
They can call us or go to the website and contact Angie, contact me. Part of my first 6 months was traveling across the state, really listening to donors and stakeholders and partners and seeing the work of the Rhode Island Foundation from Westerly to Woonsocket. So it's, I spent a lot of time to do that because I want people to understand this is your community foundation. We're here to serve the people of Rhode Island, and so if you have ideas, if you want to speak about contributing to some of our work, if you want to learn about our programs, just reach out to Angie or me, and we look forward to continuing to engage with the members of our community.
Thank you very much for your work and for your time here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We have run out of time. We would like to thank our guest, Angela Ankoma and David Cicilline of the Rhode Island Foundation. You can watch this episode and all our past episodes anytime at watch.ripbs.org. And be sure to follow us on these social platforms for the latest updates.